Bitcoin just had its biggest day ever. It increased over $9,000 in a matter of just a few hours. This is after Bitcoin was consolidating and bouncing around a range for around 8 months. Right around the election time, it exploded and has now gone from about $69,000 to almost $90,000. We're going to talk about what this means for Bitcoin in the future and some price predictions from some of the top experts in the industry. And then we're going to talk about how AI comes into play and how AI bots could be using Bitcoin to accelerate for the future. This is going to be a fascinating video, so let's jump right in. So like I mentioned, this is the craziest day in Bitcoin of all time. You can see this green candle here. It started at about 80,450 and it went all the way up to 89,640. So a $9,000 increase in one day. You can see it's pulling back right now. It's down at about 87,500. Bitcoin is very volatile. We know that, but this type of increase is absolutely insane and something we've never seen before. Now, let's talk about why this happened. So like I mentioned earlier, Bitcoin was trading in a range. So if I sort of scrunch this up here, you can see that it was trading in a range here for about 8 months, starting back in March when it hit its peak here. So this is actually its all-time high here in March at around $74,000. Right after that, it pulled back all the way down here to 60,000 and has just sort of been bouncing around, sort of grinding its way lower in this channel. But you can see here close to the election, it started to break out and then it pulled back. So this is uncertainty about the election. But right when it started to become obvious that Trump was going to win the election on Tuesday night, so you can see this is the Tuesday candle, it started to break upward. And then right when it started to come out that he was actually winning the election, it just took off and it never looked back. And then from there, we just had green candle after green candle and just an absolute rocket ship. So a lot of people are calling this the Trump pump. And a lot of people basically think this has something to do with Trump. Trump is obviously very, very pro crypto. The Biden-Harris administration was known to be a lot more anti-crypto. Gary Gensler, the SEC chair, was famously very ambiguous in crypto to say the least and very negative towards the industry as a whole. So a lot of people are thinking that with Trump coming into the industry or into the White House, I should say, that the people he's going to appoint into the SEC and other people are going to be a lot more bullish on crypto and are going to remove some of the regulation that's been in place, sort of holding crypto back. So that obviously resulted in this huge pump. Now, a few funny things here. We have people say that Jim Kramer basically do the opposite of what he says. So basically around when Bitcoin was around 12,000, he basically said to sell everything, and you can see that basically went straight up from there. Michael Saylor, patron saint of Bitcoin, as he's been called.
Which one's the best crypto asset? Well, Bitcoin's the best crypto asset.
Has been saying this for a while.
Best? There is no second best. There's no second best crypto asset. There's a crypto asset. It's called Bitcoin, right? Right? There's no second best, okay? But take all your money, buy Bitcoin, then take all your time, figure out how to borrow.
So he's extremely pro Bitcoin. He's actually up over like 11 billion just on his Bitcoin purchases, and he buys at any level. He doesn't care what level it's at. He just keeps buying. So the question I keep getting asked by all my friends who are in crypto, not in crypto, is where is this going to go? What are the price predictions? So one of my favorite cycle traders, his name is Bob Lucas. He follows the cycle method where Bitcoin basically goes through these 4-year cycles. First thing he said was basically you didn't sit through 7 months of chop to start thinking about the exit already. You can endure the same amount of time again. And then he goes into his cycle charting here. So this is before Bitcoin broke out. It was in that wedge I was showing you earlier, and his prediction was essentially in this green box during these cycles, right? So it goes in these 4-year cycles. This would be year 3 of the cycle. And he shows you how in the year 4 of every one of these cycles, this is year 4 of this cycle, you can see it went up a ton. Year 4 of this cycle went up dramatically. Year 4 of this cycle went up dramatically. So that is where we are now. We are starting year 4. And you can see that year 4 started off with a bang. This is the start of year 4 of this cycle. You can see it's going up very, very quickly. So he's basically saying, ignore the noise, follow the cycles here and see where it goes. And if you could see where this chart turned out, it's poking up right around here right now. So it's basically starting what he had already predicted. Now, another very, very famous, very, very profitable trader who's been trading for I think since like 1975 is Peter Brandt. Another big name on Twitter, very well-respected trader. I know a ton of big traders that swear by Peter. So basically, he's saying this is a huge head and shoulders pattern. So you can see, left shoulder here, head here, right shoulder here. And he's predicting a breakout to basically almost like 300K here, if I'm reading this chart correctly. And he's using a method here, and he's basically saying this is a major buy signal that came in over the weekend. So he mentioned that this morning, and that's before Bitcoin went on its crazy rally. That's when it was at 82,000 before it went all the way up to like 89.5. So Peter came out and basically said there's a huge buy signal here, and he's saying it basically go all the way up to around 300 grand, which I think is really cool. I'm going to show you one more trader here that I really respect. His name is Brian Beamish. We're going to open up his Twitter here. He put out a tweet earlier today as well. So Brian is someone I've been following for a very long time. Brilliant brilliant trader, very, very good follow. Highly recommend you follow him as well. He's a little lesser known than Bob Lucas and Peter Brandt, but very, very smart trader. He's pointing out here how during this period of the cycle, Bitcoin had a 234% return, basically going from around I think it's like 15,000 all the way up to 70 something thousand here. And you can see that he's predicting something similar here where it's starting off here and he's predicting another 234%, again, into that 300K-ish region. And this is, again, he's using the cycle theory, but along with some other fibs, he's charting out here as well. This is called his chaos theory Fibonacci. So some really, really smart traders pointing to some much higher numbers here. Now, this is all speculation. This is not investment advice, but something interesting to keep in mind if you're thinking about price targets, if you're going to be bullish on Bitcoin. So the last thing I wanted to talk about is how AI plays into this picture. I talk a lot about AI on this channel. I'm a huge proponent of AI. I'm working with AI with some of my software. And so a guy I really respect named McKay Wrigley here, he basically came out and said, AI in crypto is wildly mispriced. The Trump admin will come in and deregulate the crypto industry. That's what I was talking about earlier. This will happen as AI agents begin hitting the early stages of the AI employee level. Crypto will be the financial rails for those agents, digital employees, plus programmable money. So what he's basically saying here is as crypto becomes deregulated and as AI agents, basically autonomous AI bots that are going around the internet and doing work, basically they're going to be paying people in crypto to do work and they're going to get paid in crypto to do work, right? So these AI bots will now be using crypto to sort of accelerate, to be powered by, which is really, really crazy. An actual example of this had already happened with Mark Andreessen here. So I'm going to show you this short clip. And this is basically going back to the story that I mentioned in one of my earlier videos about this bot that became a millionaire through crypto. So it was an AI bot. Mark Andreessen basically paid it some money in Bitcoin and it became a millionaire by starting its own cryptocurrency. So I'm just going to play this short clip and then I'll talk about that a little bit more.
And so specifically at a certain point, it decided that it had a Bitcoin wallet that it actually didn't have, but it became convinced that it did. And then Andy actually gave it, Andy basically reacted to that by, Andy now is building it as exocortex sort of in response to its desire to basically make API calls in the world. And so Andy's actually building that. And so Andy actually gave it a Bitcoin wallet and gave it access to it. And so, the bot this summer, I think in July, was basically I need, it basically went out to raise money, right? It's I need funding. I have all these goals. I have all these things I want to do, right? I need money. And, my first thought was, I need to send it a term sheet. And then I'm like, wait a minute, what am I thinking? This is a random bot. There's no,
not a good thing to invest in necessarily.
Yeah, and I wouldn't say it had what you would describe as a coherent business plan, but it had a lot of ideas.
So essentially, again, I went over this in another video. I'll link to that video below. It's a fascinating video. I highly recommend you watch it. It doesn't have a lot of views either, which shocks me, but it's an awesome video. Basically, the story goes that Mark Andreessen essentially paid this bot. So it was an AI bot that was existing online already. This really smart guy named Andy created this bot called Truth Terminal, and Truth Terminal was tweeting, and it basically has a mind of its own, and it basically needed Bitcoin to start doing all these ideas that it had, and one of them was to create a meme coin. So Mark Andreessen, this famous venture capitalist, billionaire in Silicon Valley, brilliant dude, decided, hey, I'm going to give it this 50,000 in Bitcoin and let's see what it does. So he actually, Andy, the owner of the AI bot, created the Bitcoin wallet. He gave that control over to the wallet to the AI bot. Mark Andreessen gave it the 50 grand in Bitcoin, and then the bot went and created that meme coin and generated, I believe it's in the millions now with its GOAT coin, which is the coin. And that coin, I think, is at $1 billion market cap. Let's just look at that real quick. If it's not at $1 billion, it's very, very close. But essentially, yeah, that bot created $1 billion market cap cryptocurrency meme coins. Let's just look that up really quick, just for fun. I'm on Dex Screener looking that up. So this is it, Goatsius Maximus. So $817 million market cap. So yeah, and it was definitely over $1 billion at some point. It got all the way up to almost $1 and, $815 million market cap. So really incredible stuff. And just like I said, an example of how AI is being powered through crypto, how AI used Bitcoin to create its own crypto and spun off. So crypto and AI mixing together is a very, very powerful thing. You also have the potential for the US to create a strategic national reserve of Bitcoin. Trump already talked about that. There's already people making legislation for that, and a lot of other countries like El Salvador and other countries that are creating their own Bitcoin reserves. So it's basically only going to get bigger from here. So if you like this video, definitely give it a like, subscribe to the channel. I'm not going to be doing mainly only crypto stuff, but I'm also going to be doing AI stuff. So if you're interested in AI news, updates, how to make money through AI, crypto news as well, definitely subscribe to the channel. If you have any questions or just want to talk about this video at all, I'd love to hear your comments in the comment section below. And, I'd love to have a discussion with you. So I basically respond to every comment. So please leave a comment as well.